My name is Ashley Yeates. I was born in Montreal and I moved to Edmonton, Alberta 10 years ago. My mom is from Trinidad and Tobago and my dad is from Jamaica.
So you got to meet Debbie Beaver tonight. And
Yes.
Debbie Beaver is a Black Canadian, generation Edmontonian. And so first tell me, what surprised you about meeting her tonight?
What surprised me is that she told me that there is Black history in Alberta. I don't know why.
Yeah, tell us why.
I thought that was so surprising because being here for the last 10 years, I had no idea that there was any Black history because for the first 5 years that I was here, there wasn't a lot of Black people here. And I've noticed that recently there's been a lot of people moving. So I'd be very shocked that there would ever be any sort of Black history in Alberta.
And because you met Debbie Beaver, you have a lot of questions.
Lots of questions.
So what are some of those questions?
One of the questions is what happened to the Black people in Alberta if there is so much history here? Another question I'd have for her is like, what can we do to help spread the word about the Black history in Alberta? What else did we do as Black people in Alberta?
So for you as a Black Canadian, why are stories like Debbie Beaver's and other Black Edmontonians important, or Black Albertans?
Because I think it helps spread the positive word about our culture. I think that there is a lot of news about how we were slaves and a lot of negative when it comes to Black culture. And the fact that there is actual positive from our history, I think it's so good for us to spread that type of news around. I think it's good for everyone to know, no matter what your race is.
Right. And so what kind of impact would hearing stories like Debbie's and other Black Albertans do for you and people your age?
I think it would bring awareness and help educate people on our history. I think that it will help spread the word and a lot of people will be aware of what's happening in Alberta. Like being born and raised here, I think that half of the people have no idea about that. So I think it's good to know, hey, your history is not just Indigenous or white history. There's also Black history here. We were also a part of the land here.
Yeah. And what do you think is the power of hearing these stories? Like, why do you think it's important to hear your story, Debbie's story, everyone's story?
Change and hope for a better future.
Are there any other questions you'd like to ask Debbie or any other Black Albertan?
That's a good question. When can I go see the land? Sorry.
Keep it real.
Yeah. I'm excited to go and see it. I want to go see a part of my history. I think it's so cool to know that we were in Alberta. It's I don't know, I think it just amazes me. So I really want to go and see what's out there. I heard there's a museum, so I think it's also a good way to educate myself. I think it's exciting that we actually have a little mini museum. I don't know why this is not talked about. I wish I knew this a long time ago. Being here for 10 years, I think it's actually an embarrassment. That I feel like it's an embarrassment because I don't know this, you know?
Mm-hmm. And why do you think it's important for other Canadians to know these stories?
Because it's our history as Canadians. It's our history. It doesn't matter what race you are. This happened in Canada. I hate to break it to you.
Well,
It's
thank
that
you
type
so
of
much,
thing.
Ashley. We appreciate
It's
your
that
energy.
type.
Is there anything else you want to add before we end?
We talked about so much but good stuff before, and now it's like,
We talked about hope.
yeah,
We talked about, us not just being like the narrative of slavery.
yes.
Like, what is it like? Let's forget all that. What does it mean for you, Ashley? Someone born and raised in Canada, educated in Canada. What does this mean for you, knowing that these type of projects, these kind of stories have never been put on the table for you? What's the personal feeling about that?
It doesn't make me feel great. I feel like, are we hiding our history? Why isn't this not talked about? Why are we not discussing? Because this is huge, I think. This is like something that should be talked about. This is something that should go into our history books at some point because it's Canadian history and Black history. Why aren't we actually learning this in school since it happened on our land as Canadians? I'm confusion with that one because
Confused.
yeah, I feel like that's something we should be taught of. Or even I feel like living in the big city, I know that we were talking about the new generation wanting to be in the big city, so they don't want to continue in the footsteps of their parents. And I think that I understand that, but why isn't there a representation also in the big city? We talk about a lot of different cultures in Edmonton. Why don't we ever talk about the Black culture? Why is it always about slavery when we talk about the Black culture?
That's a good question.
Or why do we not try to discuss about Black culture because we don't want to step on our toes because we're uncomfortable? Like, I don't seem to understand it because I don't think it should be all about negatives. I do think there's a lot of positives that happens with our ancestors. I just don't know the story because nobody wants to tell that part, or we're hiding it underneath a rug. Who knows?
Well, we appreciate Ashley, and we hope to get those answers for you with Debbie tomorrow.
Yeah.
So thank you.
I hope she invites me because I would like to come out with her. I think she'd be a perfect person to go and see this land with and the museum with and just kind of educate myself because I think I'm lacking in that type of information, and I would love to bring not only my Black people, I would like to bring the white people that I know who I think would also be interesting because I think everybody, no matter their race, should know this type of information. So, like I said, if we start with me, then I can tell somebody, and then and if I tell a white person, they probably gonna tell their white friends, and then everybody is eventually going to be more knowledgeable about this topic and will be talked about more in a positive light.
We appreciate you, Ash. Thank
Yeah.
you.